Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron is in the great white north, the frozen tundra, trying to infiltrate behind the scenes to get all the hockey knowledge he can.
He better be waving that American flag going. Hey, wait. Who's better at hockey here?
Yeah, exactly. So we do not have Ron on the pod tonight. He is up with his in-laws in the frozen tundra of somewhere up in Canada. I'm sitting here going, God, it's so hot
Probably
today.
somewhere in Ontario, I think.
And
I think they're up at the cottage actually right now.
Okay, so they're not.
It's an awesome. Hey, listen, the in-laws are awesome. Great family.
You know why they're great? If they were on this pod, we'd be talking crap to them too, and be having a blast
and they would be giving it right back. Believe me, between Eric and we just. I've had a blast with them over the past few years. They were gracious enough to host me up there in Canada around the time that
they are almost perfect, with the exception that his brother-in-law supports Man City.
100%, but we give him crap for it, and it was awesome. It was awesome when we all were at the bachelor party in Chicago, and we all were hanging out and drinking, and we watched a derby match there, and
a
whole thing. But yeah, no,
and drank Malort.
Blast.
Woof.
Oh, good God! Don't remind me of that,
dude. I went somewhere that prided itself on doing Chicago hot dogs, and we served Malort, and I was like, "Oh, no, thank you."
Dear, the old Chicago handshake.
Well, on tonight's episode 280, that's one of those numbers when I see it, I'm like, God, really? Did we done that many? Man, that it's bonkers. It's getting so hard, as we've noticed in late pods. It's going, cool. We should have done this beer. We never have. Then only halfway through going, oh, we actually have done this beer before. Yeah. In fact, we're going to get to the beer first, but before we get there, I am taking a gamble. I am 99% sure this is absolutely a beer brewery we've done, but I don't think this specific beer that I've done.
Gotcha.
But for tonight, we are going to go over the FA Cup. It's the Milan Derby. It's the NWSL. It's the MLS. It's the footy headlines and our 2-minute by 2-minute drill, which really just means it's a 4-minute drill, as we discuss a wide range of football headlines from around the footy world. Then as the halftime whistle blows, we'll stick with the footy as what in the Sam hell is going on? And can't we all just get along, Ferris and Blake? As we share with you 2 troubling incidents that unfolded in football this past weekend, each occurring in cup matches on opposite sides of the world, in a brand new edition of Hugs and Kisses instead of cards and flares. And finally, God, this should have been the Valentine news. Yeah, right. And then finally, for the second half of the pod, we will fill you in on all the first leg matches from the round of 16 in the Champions League these past 2 days in our La Liga's roundup. Man, okay, I moved my soundboard. I apologize in advance for having a second delay on hitting those buttons. It'll be more efficient, just not tonight. But okay, as I said, first up, our beer, and our normal beer news guy is in Canada. So you said you have a Segway beer?
I do, because I have a beer from Canada that he actually brought me down the last time he was in Canada. All right, so let me get it here.
So you're taking a break from Australian roulette.
Yes, thank the Lord. We got one more, and it's in the fridge over here. But yeah, I'm not doing it right now. From a brewery that I believe we've also had on the pod before, Bellwoods Brewery, out of Ontario in the west side of Toronto. I have Cat Lady IPA, a 7.1% alcohol by volume strong beer.
What a great name.
Yes, indeed. Let's show you the can here.
Oh, that's awesome. Just a million flipping cats. That's awesome.
The brewery was established in 2012 it began as a small brew pub in the west end of Toronto, and underwent multiple modest growth spurts over the years to encompass 2 retail shops selling fresh cans and bottles, a production brewery in North York, mostly to house the fodder pyramid. These days we produce about 18,000. Was that is HL?
Hectoliters, right?
Hectoliters a year. Yeah. It's a mere blip in the grand scheme of Ontario beer, but keeps us busy. The styles were
hectoliter.
Hectoliter.
This is where I need to like something, but that sounds like a Ghostbusters thing.
It does.
Yeah.
Hey, Stan, grab the hectoliter. The styles we're interested in brewery range greatly, and we always remain open to new ways of making beer. For the most part, our current efforts are devoted to aromatic, hoppy stuff, crisp lagers, barrel-aged wild blends, fruit-forward zingers, and the occasional barrel-aged stout. There's always a new creative project waiting in the wings. We're still a relatively small collaborative team forever dedicated to pursuit of perfect beer. Thanks so much for partaking in the fruits of our labor. You can head over to bellwoodsbrewery.com. And so I have the Cat Lady IPA, 7.1% alcohol by volume. Cat Lady is an IPA that is created in response to Roman Candle, a foil or counterpart to showcase another side of hoppy, but has developed into its own autonomous self. The malt build and resulting color are relatively light. The bitterness is big but balanced, and the mouthfeel is full body. Cat Lady exhibits a great balance of tropical fruity and a West Coast piney hop profile. I love it. Tropical fruity and West Coast piney profile. Love it, love it, love it. Allergens, barley, wheat, and oats. It's available for pickup at both of their locations. On their site, the customer reviews, not a single one below the rating of 5. All 14 reviews are 5. So I'm excited to have this, and all within like the last year, 6 months, 8 months, that sort of thing. So Ron and the Dean family, thank you for bringing us back and passing it off to me to try.
All right. Well, I have a very Ron-centric beer in that this, unintentionally, we have themed this well. This is one of his absolute favorite breweries. I'm going to the well of one of our favorite breweries out of Belgium, the St. Bernardus Brewery. It does, what's the word I'm looking for? The Abbey, not, why am I forgetting the Trappist? It does the Trappist ale styles, but it is not, in fact, an actual Trappist. It does not have that designation. If you go to St. Bernardus website, they've got a really great website. Just switch it on over to English, but to kind of mark through the histories of talking about how the Trappist fled the mountain to cats, named after an ancient local tribe, and escaped to Watteau, Watau in Belgium. Sorry, I'm definitely probably mispronouncing that. And that is where the St. Bernardist refuge, it was known as the Refuge de Notre Dame de St. Bernard, and it was to prove a refuge in the practice as well as in name. But why did these monks come to Belgium at all? In France, they had to pay tax on their revenues, and that was not yet the case in Belgium. So monks bolted out, took up cheese making before getting into the beer making.
Both brilliant things.
Yep. And this is, and their history, it's a really cool history. It marks you through like a really fun, timeline. I also recommend going there and just clicking on their flagship store. It makes me want to go so bad. So I am doing, not only one of Ron's favorite breweries, but his favorite style. And this is the St. Bernardus Triple. And Santa gave this into me in a little gift pack. So it also came so I could replace my official St. Bernardus chalice glass to drink this out of.
Oh, looky there.
Yeah, I had one back in the day, but it got broke in a move, and I forgot how the one that comes in the gift pack is such a nice thick piece of glass. And I'm doing their triple, which is a traditional Abbey beer that follows the classic triple style in the Watteau region. A triple is often referred to as we're going to say that says it's pronounced Bernadette. Oh, man, I don't speak Flemish, so I apologize. A fine tribute that pays homage to Bernadette, the youngest daughter of Eversy de Connick, to the man to whom the monks of Abbey Saint-Mère de Mont de Cat sold their Belgian property in 1934. St. Bernardus Triple is a blonde beer with an inviting golden hue and impressive velvety soft head of froth, also known as our Bernadette. It's lightly sweet aroma, flowery, fruity taste in which bitter and sweet merge harmoniously. Thanks to its pleasant hoppiness, the mouthfeel of the beer is nothing short of beatific. It quenches your thirst and stimulates the appetite, and this is what we call a perfect combination. A hugely accessible beer that is surprisingly light in character, and its understated bitterness makes the beer a great candidate to serve at informal gatherings as an aperitif. The triple also makes a perfect pair for poultry and enhances the taste of most savory snacks. I don't think I've said the word aperitif in a beer for this. I'm feeling very bougie right now. That was
that does sound bougie and Bernadette.
Yep, 8% alcohol volume, and this one actually has a shelf life of a couple years. A lot of stuff you can age. Some of their stuff you can age pretty well, but this one And I believe this one is sitting right at a year. So I'm ready to crack this bad boy open.
We're both doing fairly high beers here.
Yep.
Shall we?
So let's do this, man. It always feels, I used to always get the larger bottles of St. Bernardus. So it feels weird doing just the cap, the traditional bottle cap bottle as opposed to the cork bottle.
Such a good, like, just IPA.
Oh, bro.
Smell to it, man. Oh.
As soon as this cracked open, the room just filled with the aroma. The only problem with this is I got this beautiful gift pack, and it comes with a Prior 8. It comes with a wit, which is I think it's my favorite wit style is St. Bernardus, and then it comes with is the app 12? I have to go back and look and see what's in there. It was a tough choice to decide what to do tonight.
That would make sense. Look at that, man. Cloudy as all get out.
Oh, buddy, hold on, wait for it, like a commercial.
Oh,
look at that.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. Oh, yours is so freaking hazy looking, dude.
Yeah, man.
That's a fine looking beer. This is one of those where it's a shame we don't have smell-o-vision yet in podcast, because right now, my studio smells like flipping heaven.
Yeah, and someday we'll get this. Maybe by episode 300, we'll get this thing on the old YouTube so you can see our ugly mugs. But
God, then Ferris, we have to clean up. I don't. How are we gonna do?
Well, you have to clean up. Like I have a pretty decent studio going. Well, it's like I don't know. It's like not really a studio, but like I get a pretty decent Zoom background wall if you consider that.
Oh no! I'll get all my Wing Chun dummy and martial arts stuff set up in the back like a big old nerd,
Beautiful.
so people can see that.
Okay.
But I'll hang like soccer scarves and stuff from it. It's not that. It's that it's been a long day at work, and I'm like, oh God, I got bags under the eyes. Where do we get makeup artists if we do that?
Right. Listen, I know a few, but
hey, fair enough. So do I actually. What am I saying? We got this. We're golden. Oh man. All right, I got my beer picture with Yoda. I hope people have been enjoying my classic 1981 Yoda toy. I think it's where that one came from.
Yep, you do got the Yoda. All right, my friend.
Cheers, bro. Salut. I'm not sure what the Flemish say, but that's what the French say. Oh, good God Almighty! That's perfect. So this is like, you know what? We've done this so long. Sometimes I treat it like, someone's been here from the beginning. So I'll rewind a little bit. If you've not done Belgian beers, if that's not a thing that you've gotten into and tried, man, the St. Bernardus line is so good because every style for the most part is like a perfect example of that Belgian style. This triple is, on one hand, I'll say nothing special in the sense that it is exactly what a triple is supposed to be. But by that, it is supremely special because it is just like a perfect version of that style. And despite the slightly higher alcohol content and the more full body like feel of it, it is a very crisp, drinkable beer. God, just if you've not done the Belgian trip of beer before, just grab some St. Bernardus, pick whatever you want and start working from there.
Just go to town.
In with app 12 last, I think I would recommend, just because I think it's one of my favorite. But it's so different from this. It's so dark compared to what this is. But damn,
yes, it is. Yeah.
This is awesome.
Listen, this hazy IPA it lives up to its name. Those fruity and piney notes there are great. It is just a classic hazy type IPA that just goes down smooth. It's
a good pour too. That can went right to the top of that shaker pint glass. Yeah.
Yep. And you can, these are dangerous ones because they're 7.1%. And you'll start doing a few of these and you won't realize that they're 7.1%. And it will go down so smooth. By the time you realize it's 7.1%, you're having to call it an Uber.
Yeah, my problem with this one is I think I'm aware that it's an 8%. It's not like some of their higher ones where you can kind of taste the alcohol. This isn't a beer you slug back only because it's so good.
Right.
But it's one of those that you sit back in the couch with a friend and if you could just keep cracking these all night long.
And that's the same thing here, right? You're not going to slug back this IPA. Well, at least you don't want to slug back this IPA. But it is one that you could just pour up over and over again as you're watching a game, as you're playing a game, on a PlayStation or something or whatever, and you're just getting into it. Like how we used to do on soccer mornings when we would all, when we would get together.
Yep.
This would be a good IPA for that because you could just boom, boom.
But the rule is,
by the time you're in game 2, it's just woo.
Don't bring the cooler to the couch if you're playing the games or hanging out, because I made back in the day when it was Fox doing the soccer, and
Fox soccer.
And they would do the one where it'd be like match of the day the next day or whatever, but it'd be like you watch the match and the commentary was like a fan from each club. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
So funny. So my buddy and I would watch that, and we made a mistake one time. And I'm a couple of years out of college, but we took the Diet Pepsi. Don't know why it was Diet Pepsi. That's what or it's Pepsi Zero. That's what he insisted on. We had this Pepsi Zero. We couldn't afford Captain Morgan, so we got the Admiral rum because it was cheap as dirt. But we used the Admiral outranks the Captain, so it works out.
Fair enough.
And we put that in a bowl of ice, and then we had a bowl of ice to make the drinks, and then we put the Pepsi in that, and it had the glasses right there. So we just kept watching and laughing, and we just kept mixing the drinks in front of us and drinking. Like we even pre-sliced limes, man. And the bad side of that was we're rolling laughing, and we're going to go to the next match, but it's like, I got to go take a leak. And you stand up and go, oh God. And
yes.
You don't realize how much you've had just sitting there. And of course, by the time you've had 3 of those, even though we got little rocks glasses, your rum pour gets a little bigger each time.
Heavier, heavier hand. And next thing you know, the reason it gets heavier is because the bottle gets lighter.
Exactly.
So it becomes a lot easier to pour it.
But in all honesty, some of my favorite early me really getting into soccer memories, like that way pre this pod and all that, because it was like this. I hate, as far as I know, that they don't do that anymore, because when soccer was just not spread around the States as it is now, where it's, it's hop on NBC or whatever. But it was something to see like how important these clubs were to people. And you're like, wait a minute. I thought I've seen cheeseheads in Wisconsin, but this seems very different. You know what I mean? Oh God, that show was great.
Was Fox Soccer Plus or Fox Soccer something?
Fox Soccer
Fox
Plus.
Soccer Net?
Yeah.
It was something like that. And then it was Satanta. Remember Satanta Sports? Yeah, and then there was one more in there. I don't remember, but yeah.
We need to do like a special one-off pod that has no content. We're just going to make drinks like that and just reminisce about soccer. Well,
heck yeah.
Well, I guess Fox Soccer Plus is technically the thing they have now.
It's
right?
Fox Soccer, yeah. But
no, you're right. Fox Soccer Plus became Fox Sports. You're right. That is what it was called.
You'd be lucky to get, like, now you can watch pretty much any league anywhere, right? If you have, if you have Peacock, it's obviously all Premier League, anything you want. Whether it's the Premier League shows they do, whether they just all Premier League. It's great. Paramount Plus is probably the second best in my opinion.
Dude, well, just the Galazzo show alone.
The Galazzo show, the champions, the league show that Kate and Thierry and Jamie and Mika do is brilliant.
It is like lightning in a bottle.
NBA on TNT,
yes,
but for the world of soccer.
I don't know. Like, that's one of those enjoy it while you've got it. Those 4 folks
100%.
is such a lightning in a bottle, perfect, like, just mix of perspectives and attitudes.
Insight.
And I think the most important thing is
just jab at each other. It's great.
It is so clear. I think the most important thing, how much they genuinely love football and being with each other.
Yes.
And that's the lightning in the bottle spot. You can get groups together that are like, man, they can pontificate and they know their stuff, but holy crap. Even just the way that you can tell they're excited because she got a joke in store to screw with Big Meeks or whatever. Like, it's so good. Yeah.
But she's a brilliant host. Not only does she help to kind of land planes, right? She's the Ernie, steward of that. She speaks so many languages. She will live translate to you on air. It boggles my mind how brilliant
you feel so
she is.
stupid.
Not only at that, but how she manages that show and lands plane. Yes. And mind you, this is if you ever watch these things, right? We're doing it a podcast where we're talking to each other, right? We don't have a producer in our ear that's rattling off things that you now have to concentrate on the thing that I'm saying to you, Blake, but then listening to a producer in there. So while Kate's doing this, not only is a producer in her ear, she's having to listen to Mbappe or whoever talking in French or German or some other languages that she speaks and live translate to her. And then when she's talking to the guest there, or, to the, not the guest, but to Thierry and all that, has a producer in her ear telling it's not an easy gig. No. And it's not just her, right? All of these studio and on-air personalities.
No, but you're right, though, like,
where producers are in their ear, but Kate is brilliant at it.
Yes, because in my job, I help produce interactive and improv entertainment. And these folks are not, quote unquote, improvisational performers. However, they are, and they're brilliant at it. And like one of the things when you're putting a group like it together on the sort of improv interaction side is you're trying to find that one person who can be the host that can see the punchline and help land it, even if it's not theirs, but like, see where one of the other people are going. And she threads that needle like a champion, man. And much credit to the people that produced the show to allow the freedom that the group has moments of like, was it Liverpool. Jimmy Carragher thing, who said something to me. She's like, call your mom, just call your mom then. And they called his mom live on air. Yeah. And they sort of have that, like, you end up watching it because you're like, anything. It's like going to a good improv show. So when people are like, whose line is it anyway? I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I can't wait. And that is what watching that show is like.
Because not only do we all not know what's going to happen, in these games, right? They could be 3-3 thrillers. They could be, but you have that, right? The drama in those games alone mixed with those in the studio, just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Also, the other thing you look for a good improver that's really funny is someone who's like, oh, I'll tell you, I don't care if I look bad. None of them have a problem being the butt of a joke, getting the piss taken out of them.
And it's so funny because Kate will be the first one just to rag on all of them. She'll have these like intros that will just touch each of them and rag on them. The minute she makes a mistake, though, they never let her forget it, and she just rolls her eyes because she knows she does it and whatnot.
Was it last season, one before, where like the club breast was?
Yes,
and like they end up doing a super cut of how many times the guys could not oh my god,
they're just little kids with laughing.
Yeah, just like, what do you think of Breast FC? Well, I like looking at them. Like, I mean, just so, and I don't know why when Thierry Henry throws one of those in, it's even funnier coming from sort of stoic French man. But that's okay. Paramount Plus sponsor us. Free plug here. I could just watch them all day long. They almost kind of took the mantle away that Men in Blazers had started years ago for me in that respect. Like, because it's of that ilk of like the having fun with each other and like. But this feels way more off the cuff.
This is you can tell that what Paramount's done is put a lot of stock into their studio games, right? Because even the Galazzo show, the morning D show, are brilliant shows that go over a lot of soccer, not just the ones that they have on their channel, but the big headlines and whatnot. But what they've done with the Champions League, I think it's evolved because I don't know if they quite knew what they had or what it would turn into. And I think in a lot of ways, it's brilliant because the network, the producers, the directors have, whether they have changed over the years, the network has allowed it to evolve and change with it and allow those personalities of each one of them to kind of grow, to change, to laugh, to have fun. You can tell that, as you said earlier, not only do they love the game, but they love being with each other. And there are just things that, between Thierry Henry, who is just a brilliant football mind and draws up points that you don't even really see or think of at the time, to Jamie Carragher talking about the experiences that he had in playing in so many Champions League games over the years, with Liverpool, to Mika Richards today. It was hysterical. And actually, you know what? We're going to change it up. We're going to do the La Liga's roundup.
Well, hold up.
We're going to do that first because we're talking about
Does that mean
and then we'll do the second half.
We're calling an audible on the play.
Yes, we are. We are.
I love it.
But when we'll go over one of the results right now. When it was 3-0 at half, a Freddie Valverde hat trick against Man City in the first half of the game today. They pan to an image where Kate, Terry, and Jamie are sitting on like the couches and the things, and Mika Richards is at the table. His head is just like sulked, and he's just not commenting, and he's just quiet. And they're like, "What's wrong, Mika? Huh? What's wrong, Meeks?" Because his Man City that he played for many years got absolutely destroyed in that first half. 20 minutes goal, 27th minute goal, 42nd minute goal by Valverde, and they were all beauties.
Oh my God, this is brilliant! I had to pull up pictures. I see the picture.
You seen it?
Yes.
Absolutely hysterical.
Oh,
but that's how it's been all season for them in the Champions League, and now honestly is when.
And I'm sorry,
watched, right? Because it's so many games. But now is when they're doing not as many games, and they get to, I don't want to say play more, but they get to.
They got a little free, got space to play.
They get less games to really break down and go through, which allows them more free talk about them, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's that you talked with the NBA and TNT, like what they had going from was even if your team wasn't playing, you'd watch the studio to come back to them, right? Or when your team was done or whatever, right?
Exactly.
And with this,
United is not in it. I want to watch the Champions League, and I want to watch it because of them, and I'll have it on at work when I'm there, just to listen to them talk about these games.
And I don't know currently in the world of football right now, there's someone I want to have a beer with more than Big Meeks right now. I swear that dude freaking cracks me up. Dude is so funny. Like just, and again, hysterical. There's something about this like big dude who just will like totally not care about looking back. It's so funny. The whole group, man. Like you said, it's almost hard. That's why it's lightning in a bottle. They're each so good in such a definitive way that you're like, man, I'm just going to enjoy this as long as I can because this is just hard to recreate, you know?
Mm-hmm. And it also helps because it's only on 2 times.
Sure.
A week, but not every week. Only when the Champions League matches are, right? And NBA on TNT was similar in that respect, right? They were only on a few times a week. So you're not oversaturating.
Of course, if you do enjoy them.
An everyday Sports Center type show or those sort of things.
You can get a lot more on Sky and everything else too, whether it's them together with other people. I mean, gosh, they're talking about football all day long. All day long. Like, it's just, it's wild. When you're just like, another thing will pop up. I'm like, wait, they did that today too? Or like, kind of like, did today, but, or you're like, when you, I mean, I've pictured this world where like it's like 8 studios in a circle. They just run from one to one. You know what I mean? They're like right. Tag in. I'm over here. It's crazy, man. Good audible. Yeah. Do you want to start with the Man City match? Do you want to work our way? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, like I said, Real Madrid just absolutely tore them apart at the Stadio Bernabeu.
So, and the big headline is. Yesterday it was, man, look at how good the Premier League is. Look at how many clubs are in the Champions League. Nobody from the Premier League won today, guys.
No, or yesterday.
My friend. Nope. Liverpool lost. Newcastle drew. Yep. Arsenal drew. Chelsea got stomped, and so did Man City.
We'll get there in a little bit. And Liverpool lost as well.
Yeah.
But real quick, this Real Madrid team, they also did not have Jude Bellingham or Mbappe in the team. Nor did they sub in the game. They weren't even on the bench, and they beat a Man City team 3-0. Well, and it was 3-0 within inside of 42 minutes.
Man City's, they can always score. I realized today they did not. They're always a threat to score, but their defense has just taken a hit this year. Scoring on Man City is not people do it.
Correct.
It is surprising that they couldn't get on the scoreboard. I mean, I think, a shutout with 3-0 with the Man City is just not something you see frequently. Even a 3-1, but
yeah, but it's a pep side in a way in terms of dominate the possession. But in the past season or two, they still have those possession. They dominated it quite a bit. However, you look at their XG, you look at their total shots, you look at their big chances, and they're usually outdone by those. especially in these type of games where they had 60% possession, and you see the kind of like that chart they show on FUTMob that, and it's pretty much a lot of blue. But those 3 chances that Madrid had in those big peaks, they made the most of it.
So what is it? Madrid had 12 shots. How many were on goal?
Had 12 shots for 3 big chances, 2.63 expected goals. All 3 scored by Federico Valverde. Brahim Diaz assisted the last one. Sinius Jr. assisted the second one. Then do you know who assisted his first one? Thibaut Courtois. A goalie assisted his first goal there. So just wild.
What's that old adage? The Champions League is where anything can happen before Real Madrid wins the Champions League. If it did if today had a bit of that feeling to it with them.
Exactly. And you wonder, right? Because there was another good show, not the same thing, but the overlap show that Sky does with hosted by Gary Neville, and will either have Jamie Carragher, Roy Keane, Ian Wright, and Jill Scott. That's the main ones, but they'll have Scholes in there every now and again, and they'll have a few others. They're brilliant as well. If you get a chance, it's on YouTube. It's awesome. Between Roy Keane and Ian Wright sitting next to each other, you can tell they just become such good friends and how they do it. But they always have just interesting guests on from around the game, right? From managers to players to actors to musicians. They have everybody on. But this past week they had Gareth Bale on, and he was talking about
his whole time on that was great.
Great. A lot of insight to how when he went to Madrid. And I thought back because I saw him. I think I might have told you this. I saw him right before he moved to Madrid. We were opening up Transformers at the park.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that day.
We had our Transformer stilts. Our area wasn't open yet, and the ride wasn't open yet. But we were doing meet and greets out in the park, and he came by and held a soccer ball. Young, this is what 12 years ago to 13 years ago,
something like
that. And it was the summer that he moved to Real Madrid. And I thought back to that when I was watching this. And he's talking about his time at Madrid and how it's just the being like, the foreigner over there, and how the Spanish media and all of these things, and how like at Madrid, a lot of it is not so much about like the tactics of coaching the team, but it's just player management, right? It's just player personnel management on how they do it, because you have superstars on that team. Like, they don't need to be told how to kick a ball or where to do a run or that type of thing, right? Only in those big games that, switch a little tactics
when they're literally playing
someone. Just kind of throw out the ball and allow them to play. That's why they're playing for Madrid. And he talked about how they really prioritize the Champions League. Like, yes, it's the league, and yes, it's against Barca, but he was talking about how, in that league, and kind of what we all seen, it's not that they don't try, but there's those games where, we're probably going to win when it's against the Alveses and those sort of teams that are in the league. So we talk about how the Champions League was it. And it's so true, right? You've seen it over the Zidane years. You've seen it over the Ronaldo years. You've seen it so many times. They've won the most Champions League. And these type of games show that on how they prioritize this. Because they are deadly when it gets into the knockout rounds.
Yeah. When
where they may not be having a good year in the league. They may not have the best team. They've already fired their manager in the year. They've done these things, yet they're beating Man City in the first round, or in the round of 16 in the first leg, 3-0 in a pretty commanding type performance. But that's what they do.
Yeah, the kind of performance that completely changes the betting odds moving forward. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because the Champions League it is one of those where it feels like we get on a run. Part of that comes from, I think we've talked about too, in their league, there's not a lot of parity.
Right.
So
that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So with, Real Madrid and Barcelona, they can kind of take off, I don't want to say the foot off the gas a little bit, but like like you said, you're not really fretting some of those finer details until you're playing here. But but to be fair, right? All the English Cubs that lost, these were all away games for them. So that's interesting. We see what happens at home. But for Man City, the way things have been this year, I can't imagine they score 4 goals at home. That ain't happening.
With an Mbappe possibly back, a Jude Bellingham.
But even without an Mbappe, Man City just isn't putting up those kind of like goals.
They're not as clinical as they have been. I think a lot of that comes down to a change of roles, especially in the midfield for them, right? No more De Bruyne. No more Silva there's still Bernardo Silva, but who's I'm thinking of before that? Rodri's back. You've had a lot of change there. No more Mahrez. Those type of players have all changed a bit in this. That Semenyo's done well in there. Omar Mamouche has done okay. Ryan Xerxes has done okay. Thierry Reinders has done pretty well, but he's not the same type of ethos. The ethos that they've had. And I think they were really light in midfield on this because they essentially played a 4-1-3-2. However, you had Rodri that sat in front of Guehi and Diaz. That's solid, right? That's a solid kind of triangle there in the midfield. But instead of having like a double pivot or 2 midfielders in front of them, they only had Bernardo Silva. Then you had Doku off to the left and Savinho off to the right. Then you had Semenyo and Holland up front. You had a lot of attack there with no meat in the midfield. And Valverde, while playing kind of that right mid, was more of an inside center attacker a lot of times in this, with Brahim Diaz kind of chalking back to that kind of number 10 role there. So it allowed Valverde to get in behind there. But they just they came down. Majority of the goals may have started off on the wings, but they came in the center, and you can just tell Man City was fallible there. And I think Pep got the tactics wrong. I really do. Yeah. Away from home, you went for more of this attack opposed to going, you know what? We're going to be home in the second leg. Let's get something from this game.
And I appreciate that.
Set up shop here, a bit, and then play out.
I appreciate that thought. I mean, like I see merit in the idea of like they're going to expect us to come in, play low, be safe, and try to go for it at home. But you also can change your tactic once it starts falling apart.
Yeah, but this is what happens sometimes with Pep, and you've seen it over the years. Whether it's been Man United, whether it's been Tottenham, the teams just counter on them. They're very easily countered upon. And with the pace of like the front three at United, it's Tottenham, not so much this season, but in seasons of past, right? A lot of those goals come off of counters. And these goals were off of counters, right? When you have the pace of a Brahim Diaz and a Vicinius up front, why not play a little bit more of that low block? I guess it's not really a low block, right? It's not what Man City is going to play. Play a little bit more reserved and look to take your chances and play out from the back. Not have so much attacking going forward to now where you're going to be susceptible at the back because of the counter and the pace. Again, there's no Mbappe in this. So you only have to really worry about Vicinius on that side. You had the young kid of Usanov. He did okay against Vicinius Jr., but that's all he has to worry about. So that opens up the other side of the field where Valverde was. And between one of the Vicinius run, a long ball over the top, and a nice little a play between Brahim Diaz and Valverde, he didn't look good. He had probably his worst game in a Man City, but Real Madrid knew that they just need to be clinical in the moments that they had and take advantage of those moments. Counter when they could, keep the ball when they could, and be lethal when they could. And they were in this game.
Amen. I was about to hit 2 minute drill. Wait, that's not what we're doing right now.
The other teams, Chelsea were really good in the first half. I don't know if you saw some of this one. I saw a little bit of it. Went into it down 2-1. Usman Dembele. I don't remember the defender for Chelsea, but was it Chalaba? Just turned him inside out, and that was in the 40th minute, 2-1 going into half. And then Chelsea came out, looked good, and tied it up 2-2 from an Enzo Fernandez goal. And then 74th, and then late in the game, Kvaratskhelia had a brace, and 5-2 is how it ended. PSG beat Chelsea, getting revenge on the FIFA Club World Cup.
Were you? I couldn't decide if I was surprised by this scoreline or not. I think Chelsea's been a little bit back and forth lately. That I think there was a time I would have been surprised at this, but I don't right now. I'm
right.
I think
I think the in studio folks we're talking about were surprised at how well they played in the first half, because they did play a very good first half, had a majority of possession, long spurts of them playing well. We're in the game, even at 2-1. We're in the game, but you forget it's PSG, the team that won this competition last year at the Parc des Princes. They're good. They're going to be hard to knock out again this year, and this is what they're going to focus on to try to repeat. The other big fun game in this match day was Bodo Glimt 3-0 winners over Sporting up there in the Arctic Circle.
I am obviously very much wanting Arsenal to win this. However, the idea of a Bodo Glimt pulling the Cinderella and running through this is also awesome to me. I like that.
Yes. And listen to this: 48% possessions, 2.46 xG, 10 shots, 5 big chances. It's not like they just kind of happened into a 3-0 win. They were that good, and they go into the second leg away to Sporting with a 3-0 win.
Anybody that's listening that is like not up on the outside of Premier League stuff, this is a Norwegian they're 4-time champions in Norway. They won 2020, 21, 23, 24. Took 25 off for some reason.
But can anybody? But we have things here in front of us. But can you answer this truly out there in Podland? What's the name of the Norway league?
Right, exactly right.
Go on.
Wait. What is it? What is it called? I gotta look. I don't even know. Oh. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Elite
Syrian?
Elite Syrian?
Elite.
Let's
see. Will it give me a pronunciation?
And they're only second.
Elite Syrian. Elite Syrian, as I'm reading the IPA alphabet, but I don't know that I'm pronouncing that well. Yeah.
And their first game of actually they're not second. They just have the table. Is their first game got postponed, which is supposed to be this past which is going to be this coming Saturday. But the league itself kicks off with round 1 this coming weekend. So 14th and 15th.
Their manager, Jedel Knudsen, I don't know that I'm saying that correct. So he led the group to their debut in the group stage of a major European tournament in 2021-22 UEFA Europa Conference League. In the semifinals for 24-25 UEFA Europa League, where they became the first Norwegian team to reach semifinals of a major European competition. And now, right now, they're slated to make it past this round of 16, pretty well. I know they got to go back to but they have a good draw, Sporting, and from Portugal, that's a team they can beat. And so here's my question: Jedel Knudsen, at what point will the Spurs or some other Premier League team be trying to steal this guy for the upcoming season? Because you feel like,
he's been good.
He has been. Look just that short resume there, right? He let's see, leading the team to their first ever league title in 2020. So he's won 4 National League titles with the. He's awesome.
He's great.
So, curious to see if he ends up doing anything
Nope.
else. I hope
Bodo.
he stays there. Just kill it in Norway, man.
Exactly. Elsewhere today, Byron Leverkusen won, Arsenal won. Leverkusen had the lead all the way up until the 89th minute, where a pen was given and Havertz converted the pen. I don't know how I feel about the pen. At first, I thought it was. Seeing the replay, I'm not so sure, but I think it's one of those where, because it was called a pen on the field, VAR weren't going to overturn
and
it.
because he was
called on the field, VAR.
I think because called on the field, and then because he was behind him going in.
Because it's more of the lunge and the legs being out it looks, and he was on the side of where the ref would have been standing.
Right. Again,
so
it's one of those.
Understand why the ref called it then.
Had it not been called, you go, that could have been called. Like, you know what I mean? Like, either. Yeah, I do think, and I mentioned this to you in our chat there with our soccer buddies. I don't know much you caught the rest of the game. My problem was kind of the refereeing of the rest of the match. They were like, yellows given that why, and then not when they should have. Havertz. So I wish I got to send you the video of Havertz gets a yellow during a corner, and he's the one the dude is hanging on. I was like, oh my God, it's the reverse of what we talked about last time. He got it. Everyone's like, wait, why does he got a yellow? Why does he got a yellow? He didn't do anything. And I had to go back and watch. Wait, is anybody leaving out something on the video? I'm like, no, that dude's all over him. Why is that a yellow? And it was kind of that way. It was that way for the whole match. There's 4, 5, 6, 7 yellow cards in this game. Yeah, with 2 being in the 94th minute of the match. So, and it went on both sides, mind you. It was not. I'm not saying. I don't think it was. Yeah, but it was. They were. It was more the ones that weren't called after the ones that were kind of that was more of the story. Or like, there's one that I gotta be honest. There's after Robert Andrick gets a yellow in the 2nd minute. Yeah, he did another foul that he got a foul for. That I gotta be honest, I don't know how it's not a second yellow. And I think if he hadn't, and he went on to score the goal just after halftime. I know, and I think if he hadn't been given that first yellow, he would have been given one for sure. There, it felt when you start the game off 2 minutes in with a yellow, you know that's kind of how the game's going to go, right? You're starting it off. Yeah, we're going to be heavy on the cards. You know, sometimes it's not the worst way to go about it, but in these type of knockout type games, or these like, you don't want a red card and allow it to play and breathe a little bit. Yes. Unless it's a really hasty challenge and you really to kind of force your hand there. Try to keep the cards in the pocket, pull the player over, have a conversation with them. Next time you're getting a card, that sort of thing, and that kind of helps to ease the match down a little bit. You'll see it a lot in games, you know. Yeah, like if he had gotten a harsh warning and then an immediate yellow following the next one that was coming. But again, it's not like the ref knew that second one was coming, but it just could be really argued, man, I don't know how that's not a second yellow. It was a pretty reckless looking one. So to me, the refereeing was less about the calls that actually were made. It was a bunch of the ones that weren't. Good super subs though. Havertz and he scored against his old club. Yep, and Madueke coming in. Saka, terrible game for Saka. I don't think he's looked good a lot this season. Dude needs he's kind of played second. They need a break. Fiddle to others. I can't really point out anybody particular on Arsenal, but he's played second fiddle to a lot of teams. He's still, you want him on the pitch, right? Because teams pacey. He pushes. They cover him because of it. Back. They cover him. So, but you're right. He didn't look good in this game and hasn't really played well throughout the course of the season. Yeah, he's had some good moments. But I mean, he's had to carry a lot in the previous seasons. It's nice to not have to carry so much, but not a great match. It's one of those, you'd like a 0 if it doesn't work out, but there's almost a question coming off of this going, maybe you start Madueke in a couple of matches and it's not about Saka isn't good enough. Also, dude's just been playing a lot. Yeah. And so I could see Arsenal's not looked good this month, but they're still sitting where they're sitting, but that's not going to hold. Like they have to, boy, you know what, man? It was like, oh, look at this. Odegaard get injured and Arsenal can still win. Well, you know what we're learning? yes, if you don't have Ardegaard, you got people you can slot in to help get you through. But Ardegaard is so responsible for so much creativity down that middle that not having him is really, really looking more and more apparent, where they're having to win these games through, whether it be your corner kicks or set pieces or like, and I really feel like Odegaard is a big chunk of that's missing right now that they don't really have an answer for. Madueke can step in for Osaka, who's not doing so well or needs a rest or whatever. They don't have a good one to slot in for Odegaard. Not someone that can't handle the midfield, but someone that can't push forward and help that creative play happen. So, yeah. But hey, you know what? Drawing 1-1 after not playing that great and then going home, you're in a pretty good spot for the first leg. You're
agreed.
Yeah. So, they're probably still favorites to go at home. Obviously, they do well at
I would
home,
think so.
But well, that remain to be seen. And I thought it looked like a brilliant draw because if they win and Bodo, they'd get to go on to play Sporting or Bodo Glimt. But right now, I'm like,
you don't want to play up there in Norway.
I know, dude. Exactly. So, it's. I feel like this particular set of matches we're going through was very telling for each of the Premier League clubs that struggled.
Yes, and all the games we just mentioned are in reverse fixture a week from now on St. Patrick's Day.
Correct. Oh, that's gonna be a brilliant St. Patty's Day. You going to Ma Dukes to get the corned beef and cabbage?
I'm not sure yet because it's a Tuesday. It's in the middle of the week. I'm going to try to, but there's meetings that are now on the calendar, so I don't know if I can. Remember last year I was in Miami on St. Patrick's Day. Nothing says St. Patrick's Day like Miami.
Some green, pink flamingos.
Anyways, Tuesday. So yesterday, man, it must be nice to leave Harry Kane on the bench, and you still beat Atalanta 6-1. Wow. Michael Elise with the brace, Gnabry with the goal. The seldom heard of nowadays, but the pod favorite Nicholas Jackson got a goal in the 57th minute, or 52nd minute, sorry.
I thought about Ron.
Yeah, right. In the 67th minute, Jamal Musiala and Stancic got on the goal sheet as well. 6-1 in the first leg without even bringing on Harry Kane. That man just sat on the bench and just enjoyed it.
Yeah, you bet a 6-1 match without Harry Kane touching the ball is wild.
Yes. Pretty wild. Elsewhere, Newcastle, man, they looked good.
Did you see that thing from the guy from Barcelona, the young guy, going to Newcastle? Sorry, this one, I said they were all away, but this one was home for Newcastle. Yes, but he goes and he's like, it's like we're in Harry Potter. Like they were in this old building, whatever.
There was also a Spain Barcelona fan that went to the wrong St. James Park. I saw that in an article.
Oh, friggin' brilliant.
You think you want to double check like
from
like MapQuest because that's not around anymore, but you want to check Google Maps or you want to check Apple Maps a little bit closer next time. Where did that Waze take you? Because it wasn't taking you to the right St. James Park there.
God, that's brilliant. From Barcelona to Geordie Central, man.
Exactly. They ended up drawing with Barcelona 1-1. Harvey Barnes got a goal in the 86th. It was a back and forth and a lot to Newcastle.
A little hard done.
What do you expect at home?
Yeah,
a little hard done.
Yeah, like the
96th minute with a Lamine Yamal pen.
And that pen, I mean, that was a penalty. I mean, really, it just is a shame because boy, they had it. They kind of beat themselves in that respect.
Yeah, and it was just, they pushed so much in the game that. You knew it was kind of a back and forth in the Barcelona, being down in the match, going home next. They wanted to get something from it, even if it was a goal or something on the road. And they just kept pushing, and it's like, just a foul there so late.
To be honest, it probably was was the best game. It was probably the best match.
Yeah,
of this collection.
Of that day. But here's the thing: a 1-1 still not bad. You still give yourself a chance. I think a 1-0 to Newcastle would have almost felt like it's a bigger victory for them going away.
Sure.
Opposed to now we have something really to play for because we have to get out of it with a result. So 1-1 there. The other kind of surprising one of we'll talk about two, but we'll leave the most surprising one for last here.
I don't know if it's surprising.
Not necessarily the score line, but how it played out. Yes. But before that, in the 7th minute in the early game, Mario Lima goal in the 7th minute for Galatasaray as they beat Liverpool 1-0 on the day in Turkey. And I tell you what, Liverpool didn't look all that great in this. And although Salah just passed Jamie Carragher as the all-time leading person in Liverpool to play a Champions League game, he did not have a very good game at all, and he was hauled off in the 60th. So, you think Liverpool, especially going away or going home in the next round, will get out of this round and see themselves on to the next round, but Galatasaray scored early and kept it on the entire game. So if they can do the same in Anfield, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Again, I think this is kind of like the Chelsea one. It's not that surprising. It's historically surprising. Current season, this is not as surprising.
Correct.
The results.
Yep. Also not surprising. Tottenham lose. However,
should we crack another beer now? Good gosh.
I'm about done with this one. I think I have a dab from last week that I'm going to have, but my God. All right. It's 5-2 in the end to Atletico Madrid in Madrid. 6-minute Marcus Llorente goal, a 14-minute Antoine Griezmann goal, 15-minute Julian Alvarez goal. At that point in the 17th minute,
it should be clear, these goals were mistakes by the goalkeeper.
Yes.
I mean,
Antonio Kaczynski.
His defense didn't help
started the match instead of Vicario. They did the old
Vicario
first period of hockey goalie switch, if you will, in this game.
And not that Vicario is a fantastic goalkeeper. But
no, because he gave up a goal 5 minutes later after coming on.
No, but you wouldn't look. You know what? If you were flipping about to lose another match, you wouldn't look an idiot for playing him though, because that would still have been.
Well, here's the thing: all Tottenham fans are calling for somebody else in goal, right? It's a very United-esque thing, right? We don't want Onana in goal. We don't want to so put in the kid is at United that plays for Turkey. You put him in, he's no better. That's what you got here. You put Kaczynski in. Why you start him in a Champions League game? I have no flipping clue.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't
round of
make any
16
sense to make a change away to Madrid against a Diego Simeone Madrid team.
And to be clear,
it just doesn't make any sense to me from Igor Tudor. It just doesn't make any sense.
Spurs have obviously been dire, but they have done well in the Champions League. So why screw with that formula?
Yeah, and you don't start Conor Gallagher. You don't start Dominic Solanke. You don't start Joel Polina. You don't start Xavi Simic. You bring them all in as subs. But what the were you doing?
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
And especially, like, what are you doing when you know the fire that you're under right now? Although, honestly, I guess that's the danger. It's funny. A lot of times interim managers in recent history, have given a bit of a manager's bump, or they made sense in what was going on. And, but this is an interim manager. Well, that's the problem. You're trying to keep them getting relegated, and you brought an interim manager. And I think here is where the danger of what an interim manager means, which is, well, it's not like I've got this job past this summer. You guys are what? I'm still going to get paid this? All right, whatever. I mean, because let's be real clear, man. We didn't really go into this when Igor Tudor got named. Do you know what his record is for his last 12 matches?
I don't know. I'm going to guess
Ferris, they're winless. Absolutely.
0-2-10 or something like that.
Overall streak is winless in the last 12, 7 consecutive losses for him. Right?
Wow.
Now, so that's for him. When this match ended, this became a historic thing for Spurs because it's the first time they've had 6 consecutive defeats in all leagues ever in their 143-year history. And this man, again, winless in 12, 7 consecutive losses. Why was this the dude that you bring in to quote unquote save the boat, keep the boat from leaking.
And I really question. Correct. Why do you bring him in? One, but I question your tactics.
Sam Allardyce. Even if they were in the same boat, we would have been like, well, whatever. I mean, like you would have known like why they brought him in, right? Like, I don't get this.
But I question the tactics here because you didn't play in the FA Cup this past weekend. You haven't played since March 5th. So, which means it's not like you're playing 2 games in a week.
True. We were just talking about Arsenal and Man City and folks that are a little gassed right now, right?
Like, right. So your starting front 3 is Tell, Richarlison, Koulibaly, Spence as a left wing back, Sarr, Archie Gray, and Pedro Porro. I said it a little while ago. Here's the subs that you brought on. Vicario, usually the starting goalkeeper. Conor Gallagher, usually a starting midfielder. Solanke, since being back from injury, usually a starting striker. Palhinha, usually a starting midfielder. Xavi Simons, usually a starting attacking midfielder. All of those were subbed on. What were you trying to do in this game away to Madrid in a knockout? Well, in the first leg of a knockout round in the Champions League that you thought you were going to get something from this game? Because in my opinion, and I think, Blake, you said it, he should be fired by the end of the week. He should be fired for incompetence by the end of the week.
It should have been 10 a.m. this morning, dude. It should have been like this morning.
You set this team up to fail. You put in the poor lad, the Czech, Anton Kaminsky. Yes, he made some bad mistakes that you shouldn't be doing at a pro level, those sort of things.
So do you think...
him up for success? He got a 2.7 overall. Van der Ven, who was sent off in their last game in the Premier League a week ago, got a 4.3. Danzo, who I just don't rate as a center back whatsoever, besides just being big and strong with a little bit of pace, 4.6%. Ramiro wasn't much better at 5.1, but that's who you set up in front of him with a midfield of Sarr and Archie Gray.
And I understand that you got to play Liverpool this weekend.
At age 19, Archie Gray is, by the way.
And you are at a grave danger of being in the relegation zone as of next weekend.
100%.
So I guess I'll play devil's advocate for a second. I guess there's a way of still losing this match, like say 3-2 instead or 2-1. If you play your better starting lineup, who, by the way, to be fair, also have not looked good.
Doesn't matter.
But if you start them and then you have an abysmal game against Liverpool and slip, I guess the argument we made, why didn't you rest those people?
Sure.
But then I guess the other argument, Ferris, is the regular starting team.
On Tuesday. You have a game on Tuesday and Sunday.
Yeah.
That's the largest
That's
gap
a
for
huge
these type of games that you can get. It's not like it's a Thursday to Saturday game or I'm sorry, like a Wednesday to Saturday game because they'll do a Thursday to Sunday game. But it's not like you're in the Europa League. You're playing a Tuesday and Sunday game. That's 2 days shy of a week rest after you've already been off for almost a week prior to that. So I don't understand it here. And it's not like it gets any easier. As you said, they have Liverpool next in the league. Then on next Wednesday, so a week from the day, they have Atletico Madrid. They host them. Good luck. Then they have Nottingham Forest they host. They go away to Sunderland, host Brighton, maybe get something out of going away to Wolves, but not right now because I think Wolves is playing pretty darn good. Then you got Villa, Leeds, and Chelsea. That is a brutal end of the season for a team that is battling relegation.
Yeah, and the quote out of the Sky Sports,
almost like he wants to get knocked out of the Champions League so he can just try to focus on the Premier League. Will he even make it to the end of the season? At this rate, I don't know.
Well, the quote on one of the Sky Sports, I believe it's Adam Bate, but it's only Tottenham could turn what hapless coach Igor Tudor had agreed was a free hit into one of the more embarrassing nights in the club's history. I mean, that's the thing. He could have won this and been fine. I'm sorry. He could have lost this and been fine. Not that people wouldn't still be like, man, I don't know if he's the answer. I just mean he didn't lose this. He handed this away in like an embarrassing slip on a banana peel that you put down in front of your own feet kind of way. And it just looks so inept. And now people are going, well, he's winless in his last 12, 7 consecutive losses overall. So this is better than Thomas Frank. And I realize if you don't do anything, you're an idiot too for not trying something different after Thomas Frank. But like, was there literally no one? And hey, look, Ferris, maybe there was no one that was like, I don't want to deal with you guys. I mean, did you see the fans from Spurs flying back? Because Pochettino was at this match.
Yes, he was. But you know who he was invited by?
Atletico?
Yes, he was invited by Atletico. I don't remember the reason why. Oh, because on the Atletico side, Johnny Cardoza, who plays for the States, was playing this game. So,
but did you see the fans chanting on the plane, "We want you back"? Poch, yeah. But
hey, listen, you can have him back, but after this World Cup, please.
Also, but Poch, are you kidding? I'm surprised he didn't try to plane and go, guys. This is actually. Were you at the match?
Right.
That's why I'm not coming back.
It's why Igor Tudor even put out this lineup. It's like you knew he made a mistake and he shouldn't have, because he subbed in all those names that I said, including the goalkeeper. So now you embarrass the poor kid and you bring him off because you pull him essentially in the first period. And it's not period, it's halves, but relating it to hockey when they get subbed off that way. It's just Spurs are a mess. And listen, from a United fan that's been a mess for many years now.
This one like this though, buddy.
This might take the cake. Like,
yeah,
you won a trophy last year, but I'll take not winning a trophy last year, having the season so far we are this year, even with a coaching change.
Yeah. Would they trade
United,
places?
Then I would taking a trophy last season with a coaching change and being where you are this season.
Yeah, can we go back to that pod where it was like, well, did Spurs have a better season because they got a piece of trophy last year?
Right.
Well, they still ended 17th, and that's the thing is like, and
they're there again, and they're in worse shape.
And let's be honest, they beat a Man United who was wildly inconsistent last year.
Yeah, and they barely beat it. It was like off of like it was not a clean goal whatsoever, off of a set piece, and it bounced in. But anyways,
but I'm just saying they didn't get any better. They've just gotten worse from that.
No. And then they signed good players. Like I like Paulinho, I like Simmons. I'm a big Solanke fan. They signed him.
But how do you get excited?
Conor Gallagher signing, I do. But you got center backs, except they just get sent off every week.
And look, I know we only get
not
to see
bad players. You just don't have any organization in the team. And it's what United's gone through for several years, where you've had good players out there, but there's nobody that come in to kind of keep it simple, play a consistent lineup, play players in the position that they're meant to be played in, and just get a result out of a game. That's not happening. It didn't happen under Big Ange because of the style that he plays. It's not happening under Igor Tudor because he's trying to even change that to.
Did he play a 3-4-3 in this too?
Espirito Santo's do. Just trying to change it up to for the sake of change, get something going. But that's not working either. So Spurs are in trouble. Spurs are in big trouble.
Yeah, they're not even doing
the
that
games
thing.
They have coming up. They have very plausible to go down.
It is shifted to, I forget what the percentage is now, but it like went from 5% to 16 to 20, like really fast. Like it's gone up. And like right now, also like you talked about this club, but dude, how do these players get excited to play for this club? How do, and I know we only get to watch and try to read their faces on the pitch, but dude, it does not look like he has that team at all.
It doesn't look like it, you know what it reminds me of? The Ralph Rangnick years under Man United, where he's calling them, what was his famous line?
Oh.
They need surgery or instead of they need full on surgery opposed to what we're doing now, and 10 players need to change out in the whole and that's essentially what Igor Tudor's doing. You see him in training, you seeing some of these things. He's frustrated that players aren't taking to the things that he's saying, not doing. But on the other side, it's like, well, were the players really paying attention to Ralph at the time for Man United, or are they really paying attention to Tottenham at the time? Because it's like, oh, just another interim coming in. He's spewing that's not like a Ted Lasso type where it's inspiring in a way. It's just more tactics to try to change it up.
Well, but it's not even tactics. I mean, a 3-4-3 against Atletico Madrid doesn't even make.
But what this is you can. It's hard to compare because it's not a like for like with Carrick and Igor Tudor. But But I go back to things I said on this pod. What Carrick's done with United has kept it simple. That's what he needs to do here. Keep it simple to get something from a game.
Yeah, why would you not even just be boring?
Not from week to week or looking ahead at 5 matches. From that game, we need to get something from this game. How do I set you all up? How do I set the team up to get something from this game? That's what needs to happen, because right now we're in survival mode. And trying and changing up the formations and the players and what is not going to help. They're all professional players. They all know what they're doing. Play them at their positions, throw the ball out there, set them up for somewhat success, put them in a 4-2-2 low block, or put them in something that allows them to get something from the game. This lost for Tottenham in this match to kind of wrap all this up before we move on, because we are way behind everything. But this match here, for me, is on Igor Tudor for how he went away to an Atletico Madrid team who are no mugs by any chance, how he set the team up, the player personnel that he played. This is all on the manager.
He has been canned a lot lately, and he's been living on friggin' the severance packages. I just don't. Again, I'm not saying there's. I don't know who they could have gotten in this situation, but even taking a stab, I think we said it then, didn't we?
Nottingham sacked Sean Dyche to bring in the old Wolves manager. Remember his name off the hand, and Tottenham sacked
Frank,
and Frank, and this is. Why not give Sean?
I would,
Dyche?
but that
you want to come down to London?
Sean Dyche is the one.
You may play some boring ass football, but you're going to get a 1-1 result.
Yeah,
you're going to get a 1-0, result, because out of some of these teams, you have better talent up front
with
between Xavi Simmons and
other teams below them. If you could draw out a bunch of your matches, you might be saved. However, that won't matter. That if the world is that this weekend they lose and Forest and West Ham win, now you have to start winning.
Yeah, they are in trouble. All right.
All I know is thank God for the internet and all the funny memes of like turning the stadium into a Tesco and going away to Lincoln. That's what the fans are chanting. The Spurs fans are chanting that. Like they're trying to just be like, well, let's start. What's the stages of grief? Let's just go and accept it and move forward. Oh man, I knew that one's going to take us over, but delightful. All right, where's the halftime whistle?
I don't know.
There we go. Are we going to move on to the hugs and kisses instead of cards and flares? It's a fun headline for a really crappy scenario.
Yes,
but hit us up.
All right. First up is the flares portion. On Sunday, and I was driving back from a gig from down in Bonita Springs, which I'll talk about on a few other pods that I brought a beer back. But I was listening to an FA Cup match at the end of that on TalkSport. Forgive me, I do not know the announcer's name, but was giving wonderful commentary on the events that played out after this Old Firm derby, as TalkSport was doing their like spot checks on the match and where they were at in the match. So on Sunday, Old Firm derby once again kicked off for the second time in 8 days as Rangers and Ibrox Stadium, their home stadium, this time in the quarterfinals of the Scottish FA Cup, for a match in which saw the home side, Rangers, dominate play for a vast majority of the match. They were eventually beaten following 120 minutes of play, so they played 2 extra times as well. And they went into a penalty shootout. Celtic won that penalty shootout 4-2. The Thomas Savancario converted 4th kick from the spot. And that's when the shameful scenes began to ensue. And listening to the commentaries on TalkSport just gave a wonderful, terrible picture of how this was playing out. So, long story short, because it's a cup match, more tickets were allocated to the away side. Now, that away side happens to be Celtic, which we talked about on previous pods. It is a fierce, probably one of the top 3 derby games in the world. That is so much more than what it does on the pitch.
Long history of hooliganism and
between Catholics and Protestants, and you can go back many. Yeah, it's wild. So it was like 7,000 some fans that were in what the away end is. That is double the size of what it would normally be there at Ibrox. So once that fourth penalty went in, it was in front of the Celtic away fans. They started to kind of storm the pitch. Well, you're storming a pitch of your fiercest rival. It's not at you're not at your home stadium. You're away. That then kicked off because obviously the Rangers fans didn't like that very much. And as players were coming on, as fans were coming on and they were kind of hugging players, taking photos, masked people from Rangers that are part of the Ultras started to come onto the pitch. And at first it was calm, but now police started to get intervened as so many Celtic fans were on the pitch trying to hug players and whatnot. Now, kudos to both clubs. They security and admins and that sort of thing for the clubs were trying to get them off the pitch as fast as they did, and they did. But once the players were off the pitch, that's when it kind of got a little bit worse because the Celtic fans were still out there. Rangers fans didn't like it. Security started to intervene. Rangers fans started to run from the other side of the stadium across. And they were met with a wall of police and stewards. And the Rangers fans started to throw flares. Now, flares you cannot take into these stadiums, right? They're pyrotechnics. The flares started to go back and forth. They started to throw flares back and forth from the Rangers fan to the Celtics fans. Celtic fans kind of like goading the Rangers fans. You have this wall of security that's there. They draw their, they're in like riot mode at this time. They drawed their batons and they have them out in case anybody starts to get, and a few of them get tackled, a few of them get hit. A lot of these Rangers fans are the ultras of the Rangers fans that are going against the ultras of Celtic. The reason that these ultras got in is because more tickets on the Celtic side were allocated to kind of allow them in. On the Rangers side, you had your normal allotment or you had a little bit less, but it was a lot of these ultras. They're all wearing masks and that sort of thing. And smoke was in that, the flares was there, batons were raised or telling people to get back. Celtics cheering, they're chanting, they're doing that sort of thing. There is a wall of just yellow stewards and security on one side and a wall on the other side, a wall in front of, like, they're just massive amounts of security presence. Finally, Rangers fans started to kind of retreat back to where they came from, and you saw them kind of start to run back when they kind of realized we're not really going to get in without getting batoned or tackled. Horsed policemen didn't come out to the pitch, but started to come out pitch side. The Rangers fans, a lot of those in the mask, were treated back and got through the crowds. Just ugly scenes. Ugly scenes here that Scottish football has tried to eradicate out. And the Scottish FA has a lot to answer for here in terms of whether it's a ticket allocation. The clubs have a lot to answer for here, how they allowed a lot of these ultra groups to get in there. And go over to the athletics. So the NY Times there, they have a good article. There's a Scotland Yard type of investigation that's starting to occur as there's cameras there and that sort of thing, trying to catch as many people. But yeah, seeing the scenes was just as bad as hearing it on radio. But kudos to Talk Sport for giving a great detail of what was playing out in front of their eyes, to their mouth, to my ears here in the States.
Yeah, I cut it on right toward the end of the match, and I saw that commentary as it was all going down.
Wild.
Yeah, not a.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what comes.
And an amazing classic match.
Yeah.
Terrible way to end it. That was the other thing. All comments were, "Holy cow, this was awesome." Oh no.
Yeah.
And now this is all anyone's talking about.
So we'll see what the police kind of uncover, what the clubs may duel out as bans and that sort of thing. But yeah, not a good day for Scottish football.
Oh, we're getting more than over here. We go. Also on Sunday, this time down in Brazil, during the final of the Minas Gerais State Championship in extra time, the match descended into chaos with a violent brawl, which led to 23 red cards for no fewer than 23 players. What a hot mess. What was the athletics? It's turned into MMA.
Yes. It was like, this is like a 96 minute. A player collides in the goalie. The goalie does this like knee stomp and is all over him on top. So then he gets pulled off. Players come over to back their player that's on the ground. And then it's chaos. It's just a melee. Goes into the goal, goes into the sides, benches clear. People with bibs, pushing, shoving, pulling, grappling, you name it.
The knee drop looks pretty bad.
Yeah, it is. They are going. One goalie's going after the other. It's just wild. They're trying to hold people back. They're so incised. It's just incensed. It's wild. There's these it's soccer players, all right? So they're not throwing like hockey player like haymakers or throwing slap, but it's still like there's over the head, there's pulling, like you name it, people on the ground, there's some kicking. It goes all the way. There's kicking happening here that I'm watching on the screen to Hulk. Oh, when the players that's going all the way out to midfield, they're just trying to stop the chaos. And then 23 red cards, all deserving, by the way, but my God.
Yeah, give them out like candy. They all needed to go out.
Absolutely wild.
A ridiculous end. If you can catch into the footage, it's take a look at it. It is wild. It does like MMA as the guy calling the game on Brazilian TV started shouting like it that's what it looks like. It just, I don't know. It also just looks so dumb and childish too. Yes. Like, they're feeling tough and stuff and shoving. And you're like, guys, you just look so dumb right now. Because like you said,
soccer brawls are like baseball brawls. They charge out to the mound. Not really a whole lot happens. A helmet
face to face,
maybe thrown like an Aaron thing, maybe, but nothing really connects. So there's not anything good, but actually ESPN, you can watch a lot of that on their site that was posted on a video there. But hugs and kisses instead of red cards and flares.
Boom.
Keep that in mind.
All right, so maybe we turn our 4-minute drill into a 2-minute drill.
I just cracked another beer.
Try to catch up time. Oh man.
All right.
Am I gonna have another beer? Thinking about it.
Well, I have the dab that I had from last week. I had one in the fridge. So I only had one of the Cat 80 IPAs, and that was darn good. So I'm just gonna kind of enjoy this as we pile through here. But Port Vale pulled off the upset of the 5th round in the FA Cup as on a 30-hole pitch in Burnslem, Stoke-on-Trent.
Burslem or Burnslem? Burslem?
Burnslem? Oh, Lee's going to tear us apart with this one.
Yeah. Yeah, they've... Burslem. There it is. There you go. Burslem. Yeah.
Stoke-on-Trent. Which is interesting because it's not actually in Stoke, but that's besides the point. The Valiants beat Premier League Sunderland 1-0 on a lone goal from a New Zealand-born Newcastle fan of all things. Ben Wayne's goal in the 28th minute of play following a corner. So, Blake, what league is Port Vale in?
League One, 55 places?
Yeah.
That one I'm pretty sure I saw in a headline somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. They are dead last in League One, which means they are in 24th place on a minus 20 goal difference on 27 points.
They were like Macclesfield too.
8. Yeah. which means they got to go up 24 places there, 24 in the championship, and then Sunderland is currently sitting in 11th in the Premier League. So what a game. This is the game that I was actually driving back from my gig at 9:30, listened to the entire game on Sirius XM, which was through Talk Sport, which then kept going into the Old Firm Derby game at the end. Listen, for a 3.5-hour drive back to Orlando, wonderful to turn on that station, listen to this entire game, which ended up being a big upset and an upset of the 5th round, and then being filled in on all the events that were happening up there in Scotland. So kudos to Sirius XM FC and Talk Sport, but what a win for Port Vale here.
Heck yeah, and seeing them get the draw for Chelsea.
We'll get to that here shortly,
Yep.
but I believe. Yep.
Yeah, I do believe, and their fans go nuts for it.
Yep.
All right. My air horn sounded really quiet to me just then. I hope it came through correctly.
I'll try it the next time. How about that?
Mine was like weirdly quiet. Well, I don't know what just happened. Anywho, let's see. Oh, straight up with it. VAR. That's what was being said because, well, maybe that should have been said. That was the chance and post-match comments coming from the Wrexham supporters and their Hollywood owners after the long played out extra time match, which ended with the Chelsea winning 2-4 with a pair of goals in extra time at the Stock Seras Stadium in Wales to dump Wrexham out of the cup. Despite squandering 2 leads, were Wrexham hard done by here?
The only thing that I think they're hard done by is that VAR only gets introduced into, I think, this round.
Yes.
So this round of the 4th round it gets introduced on.
And
but other than that, the red card in the 93rd minute, yeah, it was the second yellow. That's a red card. The offside goal was by the ever closest margin of a half a foot.
And we brought up the new Wenger rule, daylight rule, and they're going to try that in the Canadian Premier League next year.
I did, yeah.
Which this would have allowed that goal. And I'm not sure if that's going to cause its own problems. We'll see what happens in the Canadian League next year. But it's when offsides are pulled off by the diameter of an elbow, it just to me defeats the purpose. That should not be one. Now, if the flag went up on the pitch offsides, let it stand. But if they did not call an offsides and it's that close, I don't know why then you overturn it.
Right.
As opposed to some of the ones we talked about recently going, well, he called a red on the field, so they let it stand. Or they get, I don't know.
It's hard.
It's not how you want to see it go out. You just rather see Chelsea just win. Or, you know what I mean?
Or Wrexham. But, they were also like...
Well, no, I just mean that's not how you want to
Wrexham
lose.
scored.
Yeah.
We're up 1-0. Let a goal, an own goal it happened to be in the 40th go in. Then put themselves up 2-1 in the 79th minute of play for only 3 minutes later to be pegged back. So it's like you had your chances to kind of see the game away here or to see the game through. And when that didn't happen, then it was tired legs. And
despite the fact
red card and then
of the amount of money that has been pumped into Wrexham, it is nothing compared to the wage bill that they played against, to be fair, though.
Oh, yes. Very, very fair.
So, I mean, I heard, I know people have been like, oh, God, so you just throw money at it. We're going to cheer for them because they managed to keep getting promoted. It's like, you do realize that money they put in is like nothing compared to what they're trying to get
nothing
into.
Compared to what
it's not even, it's not remotely comparable. So, you know what? Good on Wrexham. Not quite. Thank you. That one came through loud and clear.
Yeah, that was loud in my ears. Holy crap. All right. So just to kind of round up the 5th round, Liverpool beat Wolves, Arsenal squeaked by Mansfield, Man City beat Newcastle, Southampton upset Fulham, Leeds laid it on Norwich, and West Ham advanced on Pens on Monday. Did anything else kind of pop up from you there before we give you the draw?
No. You know what I will say? Man, I really enjoyed that Mansfield match with Arsenal. It was a proper Magic of the FA Cup match. The pitch looked rough. Like someone made the joke, they're trying to eliminate Arsenal's corners because there was just mud like on all the corners. But this is one of those where like they talked about like, some of these players are getting to play their heroes right now. It's against their hero. And, dude scores that goal. They go crazy. And even when the game ended, the way they celebrated for their club, because they had played the team that is top of the Champions League and top of Premier League and played a great match. It was a classic, proper FA Cup match. That was, while nervy as an Arsenal fan was, I thought, it's what makes the FA Cup awesome. Agreed. And no weird calls or anything got in the middle of it. Like the Wrexham.
Agreed.
Just clean.
Like, yep.
Yeah. Just a good, clean match on a really dirty pitch. That's the only thing I would throw out.
Yeah. And I said the other game would probably be that Sunderland or Southampton over Fulham match. Southampton obviously in the championship. Where are they at in the championship? They're 7. So they're right there in the playoff hunt in the championship. A late pen there got them that goal to see them advance over Fulham. Where you look at Fulham, right? They're safe in the Premier League. They're not going to go down. They're not in fear of going down. Why not go for it here in this cup? And Fulham didn't necessarily play a lineup. It wasn't a terrible lineup, but when you're bringing on Jimenez, Obi, you kept Andy Robinson on the bench. You're at home. You probably should have gotten more from this game.
Yeah, agreed. My air horn came back with full blast. Oh, that's me again. Wait a minute, but I forgot. All right, so here, this is how the quarterfinal draw in the FA Cup played out Monday night. Oh, pardon me. Let me pull up that draw real fast. So who we are going to have? We're going to have Southampton versus Arsenal on Saturday, April 4th. Is when they'll be hosting Arsenal. That's true. Chelsea will be hosting Port Vale. They get to go out to Stamford Bridge. Man City will be hosting Liverpool. West Ham United will be hosting Leeds.
All pretty good matches there. I mean, obviously,
except one team that just doesn't fit. What the heck is West Ham doing in here?
Hey, but listen, 18's going to be playing 15, so it's a pretty tight match.
Yeah,
Chelsea hosting Port Vale, just a good away day for Port Vale. You expect Chelsea to advance in that. Southampton hosting Arsenal. It's not like these two teams haven't played in the past several years, right? Because Southampton's been in the Premier League before. It's not like it's a bad pitch or anything going away to Southampton, so you expect Arsenal to go through there. Man City Liverpool game, who knows out of that one?
Yeah, that's a toss up, right?
Turn up that day. Man City turn up the day, just kind of depends. And the West Ham Leeds is probably going to be the best just overall match, because both teams aren't safe in the Premier League, aren't going to win anything, may go down in the Premier League, but also are playing in this cup and want to, you would assume want to try to advance in this cup. Or to both put it up like, hey, we don't want to go down in the Premier League, so we're both going to play half-ass teams here.
So then it still ends up being fun
in this stadium. They haven't done that so far in this tournament. But
we'll both managers call each other and be like, hey, look, mate, I'll play my whole bench if you'll play your whole bench. How does it sound?
Listen, as long as we stay safe this year, listen, let's go to pens. Who cares who we win in pens? And we'll just go from there.
Look, you see how the Spurs are playing. Look, we can both survive this.
Yes. Oh man. And both of all 4 of those games will play Saturday, April 4th.
April 4th, correct. Down.
Over in Milan on Sunday, AC Milan put their foot down and said, we aren't out of this yet, as they defeated their in-city and my Forza Inter Milan team 1-0 on a loan. A Stubian goal in the 35th minute. Yes, that is the player that used to play for Brighton. With now 10 matches left in Italy, can AC Milan really close the now 7-point gap that they closed on Inter to nip the Scudetto?
Probably not, but I hope they have a good run.
Yes. As an Inter fan, I don't want them to have a good run. But this was kind of your, it's going to sound bad. You're kind of your classic Italian, boring, defensive kind of match.
Yeah.
it was a pretty good watch. I'm not going to say that. Inter had a vast possession of the ball, better expected goals, total shots, big chances. Milan were just kind of in a O block, but Milan needed something from the game, and they got it. And 7-point gap, a large gap still. So 10 games left is not unreasonable, but I still think Inter are going to win out.
Yeah. It would be quite it'd be quite the feat to actually pull that through. The NWSL is back. This weekend is the Friday the 13th, a spooky new look Washington Spirit team hosts the poltergeist powerhouse of the Portland Thorns, as Sophia Wilson may make her long-awaited return following her pregnancy, kicking off the 14th season of the NWSL, and with new clubs like Boston Legacy and Denver Summit going the fray this season. What are you most excited about this upcoming National Women's Soccer League?
Man,
no more bad PR announcements about team names. I hope that's
yes, correct.
Hope that's something we don't see.
Yes.
I'm excited about that not happening.
Well, in your first weekend, a Boston team plays a New York team and got them on that Saturday, so that's pretty cool.
Yep.
And we've talked about a lot of the moves that have kind of occurred this season, right? You look at that first game, right? It's a new look kind of Washington Spirit team because no Crux Bethune. You have a new GM and Haley Carter there. A little bit of changeover in terms of players. They're going to host a Portland Thorns team that no Sam Coffey. Sophia Wilson may be back, and a few other signings there that we'll see how they play out, but nothing overly notable. So an Amazon game on Friday, right? Because all the Friday games are going to be on Amazon again. This should be a good one to kind of kick off the first round of games. But I think I'm excited to see how the new teams integrate into the league this year. Denver might break the might break the NWSL attendance in their first game because they're going to host Bay FC. But I tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if Bay FC wins that game because BFC have really retooled in the off season, and they were pretty much. I don't want to say they've been dead last since they've kind of come into the league, but they haven't been good so far. But they've signed Argentinian captain defender Adama Clemente on a 2-year deal. They also brought in Claire Hutton. Remember we talked about that?
Yeah,
that was from that was from KC in that kind of 3-way trade. And then just up in the past week, they brought in Christina Girelli, an Italian forward, on loan, and forward Kira Berry from Manchester United on loan. So based on a lot of pretty good signings in the offseason, they also signed Alex Pfeiffer from Kansas City. So no Haran or Lindsay Heaps in this first game for Denver. She won't join until the summer. So I like Bay in that game. I'm looking forward to seeing kind of here on Sunday at 4:00 how the Pride take on Seattle Reign. Seems like we played each other like 1,000 times in the past year, but we played the last home game against them. We beat them in a playoff game. Now we're playing the first game of the season against them. Seattle is young. They're feisty. Curious to see how they get on. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw here, but they just have a good head coach. I think that goes a long way in this league. and I think they're going to get something from the match. But I do think with Barbara Banda being back, we'll probably see her in the first game. From all reports, she should be playing. I think it's going to be a pretty solid Pride team as well this season. A very good attacking team. Lost Emily Sands in the offseason to LA. Brought in Anderson from Chicago. Brought in Haley Mace, one of my absolute favorite players in the league. It has been for a while. And do you know what alert I just got from the old Apple wallet?
What's that?
My new Unity kit.
Oh, sweet. Did that just arrive or just ship? I mean,
yeah, it just shipped, so it'll be here tomorrow. It just happened here just a few moments ago. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting season, the biggest season ever for them. A lot of these teams, a lot of the players will be playing vast majority of the season. There's no real big breaks this season. There is World Cup qualifying though throughout the season that will be taking place. So, a lot of players in and out of the league. Some going over to the WSL. Some coming in. New teams. Should be an exciting year all in all for the NWSL that kicks off.
I'm just excited to see Marta again. I mean, I want to see Marta get excited and say things she shouldn't on national television. That's what I want to see.
You're here.
Boom.
All right. Now,
sorry, that was you.
Well,
I did it.
It is.
We changed the color coding of our content. I thought it was good to go. Totally screwed that up.
For all the matches. NYCFC tops the East currently with a thumping to our Orlando City at Yankee Stadium. Inter Miami won again. CF Montreal surprised Michael Bradley's New York Red Bulls at home, nonetheless 3-0. And then while over at the West, the Rapids clobbered the LA Galaxy 4-1, while San Diego, Vancouver, LAFC, and San Jose Earthquakes all won their respective matches. And that's how they sit in that order at top of the Western Conference. Now, those four teams combined have only conceded one goal, and they have a combined plus 27 goal difference through the first three matches of the season so far. That's wild.
Yeah, it is.
Those teams in the West are no joke.
We already got.
All right, so we'll get into Orlando City here next, and that'll be kind of how we end it here. But anything from match week 3 catch your eye there? Because I didn't see a whole lot of these games. not really. The MLS just always feels like such a preseason for the first few weeks to me.
I don't know. MLS is just one of those that rarely does the team that kick off be the team that goes all the way down. There's some. It's always just feels a little shaky out the gate for me. So there was nothing that really stood out or surprised me too much. For this
I got to watch a little bit just before my gig on Saturday because NYCFC and Orlando City played an earlier game. Just bad from Orlando City, and I know we'll get to them here in a bit, but just bad.
I do
Real
appreciate
having going away to Atlanta and beating up 3-2 was surprising as well.
I do appreciate just having my MLS access now with my Apple TV. Just
that's not their paywall.
Yep. So it's just part of the subscription now, and I will say that's pretty nice.
Yep. And then on Sunday, I got to watch some of the games, and CF Montreal beating New York was kind of surprising 3-0, and then Toronto beating FC Cincinnati 1-0 was kind of surprising because Toronto's going to be an interesting team to watch because we haven't said it on this pod yet, but they have just signed the past few weeks Josh Sargent from Norwich for a $26 million plus type fee. He did not feature in this when Norwich was on the bench, but Toronto are going to be interesting this year.
Yep.
Be very, very interesting. And they're behind new coach this season of Robin Fraser. So should be interesting to see how kind of they get on.
They will be a tricksy team, to quote Gollum. All right. Well, let's get to it. We have to get a new manager at Orlando City. with our last headline we mentioned in the night, Wednesday, March 11th, Orlando City Soccer Club and Oscar Perea, the head coach of the past 6 seasons, who saw Orlando do better than they've ever done before, mutually agreed to part ways. What does it French say? A conscious uncoupling. To part ways only 3 games into the new season. Currently, Orlando City are 0-3 with a -8 goal difference. So, are we surprised? I mean, yes. Not that he's gone at the record, but like he did take them to some good heights. And
I am and I'm not, because Oscar teams we've seen here in the past few seasons is usually slow out the gate. Usually slow starters. We pick it up in the summer and towards the end of part of the year. But this has been bad. This has been really bad. The first game of the year, you're being blanked in the first half. Have a better second half. You salvage a goal there against kind of new look Red Bull teams behind a new coach that's never coached in this league before, and you just look bad. Then enter Miami. You're flying for the first half, up 2-0 at home. Great. You make some changes. You come out thinking you win the game, and boom, 4-2 happens, and you lose to your in-state rivals for the first time at home ever.
Badly. And there's a red card in that game. Then you go away to New York, and there's a red card really early by our goalie, who's been great. He's probably been the best player so far for us, and Max Garpo, at a baseball field of all things. And you get a red card then, and then it just ships goals. Just one after another. And he was plugging in players, trying to figure out. It's not surprising from the fact that this may be the time, right? It just looked like you've done great. We'll always remember Oscar. We won our first, silverware with him, with the 2022 Lamar Hunt Open Cup back when it was good. It's not surprising for me. I'm very curious about who we're going to bring in next. Right now, they said interim manager Martin Perlman is appointed as the interim head coach, which we have a game this Saturday. I don't know who we play offhand, but it's here in Orlando, so I'll be heading to that. But I don't know who we're going to get. That's going to be the most curious thing for me. Yeah, I guess that's the thing at this quick end. If you don't really have somebody lined up, hey, and we should also shout out though. Congratulations to a well-deserved and an awesome run. But Kay Rollins, one of the founders of Orlando City and the Pride, just announced she'll be retiring, I believe, March 15th in just a few days. Glad I just thought about that. But I got to meet her briefly at the BlazerCon that happened.
She's great.
Yeah. And like just what a staple of making professional soccer be a staple of Orlando and be part of the culture quickly and just feel like it's been there way longer than it even has been.
Absolutely. And anytime you see her around town at the various Orlando City and per ride functions, she's always very kind with her time. Awesome. We chat you up for days. Back during the pandemic, me and Caitlin interviewed her for the Black Swans supporter group.
I forgot about that.
We're doing something, so we got a chance to interview her, and just awesome. That's a good shout. I'm trying to see who will be the next manager.
Did you pull up anything?
Who do you? Now, hold on, real quick before you get into that. It also broke earlier this week that Antoine Griezmann confirms that he will not be coming this transfer window, as he wants to see out the season with Atletico Madrid. So, not that that's a surprise, the way that Atletico Madrid is playing.
Sure.
But that's just a big kind of, you saw the report, you're like, you get so excited, he can come before March, and we're making all these attempts, and now it's probably going to have to wait till summer, if he even comes at all. There's not really any specific betting odds on the next, because I think it's so fresh.
It's so fresh.
These aren't like it's in England where you have a Sam Allardyce sitting around, you have those type of things, right?
By the way, you do know who's leading the manager odds for Spurs. Speaking of that,
is it Sam Allardyce?
No, it's Sean Dyche.
Sean Dyche.
Right. Yes, of course it would be, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Pochettino's high, but that's stupid. It's not going to happen. Like I don't know why that's
No. There's not like, there's not that, because any of the players or any of the coaches you would think here in the States already have clubs.
Yeah.
Your former U.S. coach is in San Jose now. God almighty, names are failing me today. But he's already there. He's coached in New England last year. Yeah,
I'm trying to think if they could dip down into like a good USL team or something. I'm not sure where they'll go. That's
Bruce Arena. Sorry, cannot think of that. Yeah. Bruce Arena. Chris Armas is a name that's been not thrown out there for this, but we usually get thrown in MLS names. However, he's now the manager of Kansas City Current.
Wow. Yep.
So that's off the board. So there's not really those kind of names you go to. So it's going to be interesting to see where Orlando City go here, where that next coach is, who they may go after, who they may not go after. What's he going to bring somewhere, halfway during the season that, you're going to sign him to a long-term deal. You're going to sign him to a deal that's going to take us through the next few seasons. All pretty interesting. I think it was all in all, to kind of wrap this up, it was a surprise to hear this news today.
Yeah.
3 days out from their next match. It seemed like has been discussions for the past few days, and that mutually agreed to part ways. Seemed like it was coming from both ends on like, hey, this may be the time just to move on.
Let's just do this. Yeah. It's really hard not to hit the Liga's Roundup whip. All right. Well, our flip-flopped Audible pod has come to a close. Ron, we missed you. Ferris, always a pleasure. We get to do these.
And much longer of a pod than I anticipated going into this.
It's the two of us. We'll burn through this, but I should have known Spurs' dire situation might have eaten up a bit of time.
Damn CBS good commentary.
Well, the Scottish derby. There was a lot. There was actually quite a lot going on in a week that didn't feel like a ton until we started going through it. I'm like, oh my god! I mean, it really, really has been crazy. Beer's the pod. I had the St. Bernardus triple.
I had the Cat Lady IPA from Bellwoods Brewery in Ontario, in Toronto.
Do you have a Zlatan quote before I move on? Stop.
Okay, you have to do it again because all of these are checked on.
Okay, go the opposite way. Go the opposite direction.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good call.
Stop.
Okay, we got some fresh ones here. Okay. So this quote is Zlatan poses for a selfie with the wax version of himself.
Amazing already.
I took the opportunity to take a selfie with myself at the Gervin Museum in Paris. The one to the right is made of wax, and the one to the left is made of steel.
Brilliant. No notes. 10 out of 10. Follow us on the Brewtiful Game. Follow us on Untapped. We sling up some of these beers. However you listen to us, please take a chance, leave a rating review. Let us know if you do. And tell your friends and family, whomever, all about us. That's how we get the Mo listeners.
Especially grandmas. Put in the hearing aids. Listen to us.
Yeah, come on, man. This pod, we're at 280. A little bit longer. We really will be marketing to grandmas. And then that wraps us all up. The only thing I got to tell you was today was a harrowing day getting to work because there was a really bad wreck with this big truck. It was carrying all electric guitars, got into a wreck. It backed up traffic. But when I got around it, it was okay. It wasn't that bad of a wreck. Just was a fender bender. That's right. For all you musicians, guitar musicians out there, that's for you. There we go. Love the beer. Cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game.